Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with a reaction to a comeback that is very long overdue. And we'll be reacting to Wiki Wiki!
Yes, so today we'll be reacting to Wiki Wiki's new comeback that just came out called Siesta. It's probably hard for people to know because they haven't had a comeback in like over a year, but we really love Wiki Wiki in this household. They're awesome, wonderful, fantastic, and obviously we watched the teasers for this release. That being said, let us go.
Go!
I was gonna say this definitely felt like no longer teen crush energy. Oh. I like the my girl. But they're all like so sad looking.
I was gonna say, I really like the melancholic aesthetic. That's what I was about to say.
Of course.
I feel like it's a good vibe for fall. Like the aesthetic. Oh!
It's very like sentimental.
That's a good word. Sentimental is the word I was looking for.
But it's weird because like not weird, but like there's like contrast. Because like their expressions are sad, but then like the styling and everything,
Like here?
yeah, doesn't look like sad, I guess. And musically too, it's not that like down.
Well, I think it's because it's the story. Like the lyrics in the song are like, you're my like break after this hard time. So it feels new. So it's like
so much fog in this.
they're crossing a bridge into something new. There's a lot of metaphors in this.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, that makes sense, like crossing a bridge into the now sounded weird, sorry. Crossing a bridge into like a new style, because this is very distinctly different. Fireworks. Yeah. Oh, that's different. Boom boom.
Where are you going?
Are they teasing that they're going overseas for a performance?
Let's just jump right in. Like Anna said at the beginning, it's kind of hard to know because it's been so long since they've had a comeback and we don't get to react to them very often, but like we're both really big fans of Wiki Miki, and I personally just am obsessed with all of their dances. I think they're so talented. I think their choreographies are so interesting, and this is no different. I did give a quick glance at the live stage just to get an overall feeling for the vibe of the choreography because there wasn't a ton of it shown in the music video since it was more storytelling, and I'm glad I did because it sort of like centers a lot of my thoughts. It's so interesting because like most Wiki Miki dances, there's a ton of movement in it, but it feels very calm, which like makes sense because siesta is supposed to be like relaxing. It's almost like a breath of relief, especially with the story they're telling. But it's like super impressive that they have that much choreography and yet it doesn't look tiring. It doesn't look like overwhelming. And so speaking of all of the choreography they have, there's so many details in this, especially in their arms, which is something that isn't a lot of Wiki Miki choreographies. And it's a lot of really tiny detail movements to highlight the song. Like there's the little drumming movements on the booms in the chorus, or like I love whatever it was they were doing with their hands here that sort of, to me at least, felt like they were kind of showing like a rising and setting sun in their hands, like a new start, which is meaningful with the lyrics. But all of the arm movements have so many dynamics, like the musicality is really high. One specific example that I was going to highlight was on the boom 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 in the chorus. It's when they're doing the behind the head, and it's really interesting to see the switch in where their energy is going because on the boom 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 it's more of like a down down down, and then at the end of the fireworks their arms sort of open into the next movement. So it's just little like small energy shifts that keep the tiny details really interesting instead of seeming overwhelming, because if you were doing it all at the same level of energy, it would start to get a little bit like, that's a lot going on. So this is why dynamics are important, everyone. One more thing I was going to say that I also love about this choreography and just their choreographies in general is there's so many arm and leg movements that match, which sounds weird because you're like, but they're dancing. Let me explain. In K-pop, it's really not uncommon to have minimal leg movement and a lot of arm movement, or vice versa, because you're trying to like conserve the energy for singing. Also for girls, usually they're wearing high heels, so that like restrict some things. But I just love it because there's so much matching here of the arms and the legs, and it just feels like a real dance performance when you watch it. So I'm just so happy they're back. It's hard to gather my thoughts because I'm just so happy. But I'm also sad because Kim Do-yeon is hurt, and so she's not going to be performing. So I hope you feel better, sweetheart. But like, overall, I'm really happy with the comeback. Anna's turn.
Also, in case y'all didn't know, Kim Do-yeon is one of Peyton's, like, top female K-pop idols. So, anyways, time for my comments after that little side note. First, a sort of general thing. I, said this to Peyton, too, after watching the teaser. Because of the vibes of the song and just, typical themes that you'll see in K-pop music videos and, Korea being really into, songs for certain seasons, I felt like this was supposed to be released, more towards the end of summer, just because of the fireworks and the colors in the music video and parts of the song. I was saying in the reaction, parts of the song are I don't want to say upbeat, but lighter. But it does still have parts of fall to it because it's sentimental. So let me describe what parts in the music make it feel that way, at least for me. Especially when you're first introduced to the song. In the first verse, there is this delicate feeling. The background instrumental is pretty minimal. I think the instrument that sticks out the most at that point is this sort of xylophone sound. But it doesn't sound like a xylophone exactly. It sounds kind of like when someone has a xylophone MIDI, or they have a xylophone sound effect on those pads that you can use. It sounds like that. But the quality of that sound, it's a cushiony texture to it. So it's more of a soft landing. And also because there's sort of this haziness, it's reminiscent of the more hazy light or fog shots of the music video. But also, especially in the first verse, the way that the instrumental is mixed with their voices. Obviously when they're singing, it's more of the focus. But sometimes when songs are mixed, the instrumental feels like it's more of a focus than their voices. This way the voice really feels like it's the focus, hyper focus. focused on the voice, which to me brings this like more narrative quality to it. And this music video really is more focused on like the story transition bridge into this new style brand that they're clearly going for, because the song is very different from like past Wiki Miki title tracks, no longer teen crush style. But like as the song moves in story, like in the chorus, you get more grounded sort of horns. But even within that, there are like delicate moments in the chorus as well. Like one thing I noticed is like in the oh, ooh line sung in the chorus, in the ascending line at the end of it, it switches into head voice, which is different because usually in a past Wiki Miki song, it would have been like keep pushing in chest or mixed voice. And the switch into head voice distinctly brings this more delicate sentimental quality to it. Also, just like a trend in K-pop songs is like as you get older and do more mature concepts are usually distinguished by like switching between chest, mixed, and head voice more frequently. I'm running out of time, so I think the last thing I'm going to say is you are talking about like slight details in Wiki Miki songs for like dances and stuff with the energy, like shifts in energy, so that the details don't become overwhelming. And I was like, yes, that's what I like about Wiki Miki songs, because I do like details in music, and like Wiki Miki does have distinct details, like little ornaments. One thing that makes it less distracting, like slight energy shifts musically as well, is like instead of it being a distinct detail, it's like a variation on what's already there. Like in the chorus, the booms to booms. That will still keep it interesting, but it's not like overwhelmingly different. All right, now I'm gonna stop. Sorry, I talked for longer than I thought I would.
TLDR for this is Wiki Miki. Congratulations on your comeback with Siesta. It has been way too long, but we've been waiting patiently, and we're so happy that you're back. Siesta is definitely a new look for the group. It's a new sound for the group. It's a new style, but it's just very appropriate with the story that they're telling as they're sort of entering into a more mature phase in their career and in their lives. And I think we're all about it because it still has that distinct Wiki Miki quality.
That being said though, if you would like to talk with us more about Wiki Miki, please, about this release, about siestas, then feel free to reach out to us on our socials, which are linked in the cards. And as always, if you enjoyed this reaction video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and bye!
Bye!